Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Good evening. You're watching the Chairman's Report, brought to you by 𝐂𝐲𝐵Z13 and the Commission on Filipinos Overseas. That is the agency under the Office of the President mandated to connect the Filipino diaspora with the Philippines. I'm 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐬, Chairman of the CFO and your program host. Tonight's discussion will focus on the transformative power of leadership, innovation and global influence, how Filipinos abroad are shaping industries, driving technological change and uplifting communities worldwide. In today's interconnected world, leaders are called not only to excel in their professions, but to champion progress, inspire others, and open doors for the next generation of changemakers. One such leader is Erica Vergara, Head of Strategic Partnerships at 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation, with over 20 years of experience in partnerships and relationship stewardship. The 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation, established in 1972, is one of the Philippines' leading environmental organizations dedicated to biodiversity conservation. Widely recognized for its early work in Philippine eagle conservation, 𝐅𝐨𝐻 has since expanded its focus to protecting the country's unique flora and fauna, restoring rainforests, and nurturing a nationwide movement of biodiversity champions. Earlier this year, the Commission on Filipinos Overseas and 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation established a collaboration to engage Filipinos at home and abroad in championing biodiversity. One of the projects of CFO and 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation is the Buhay Punlaan project, which will be introduced to public schools and communities to plant native tree seedlings crucial to rainforest restoration, while educating recipients on the value of Philippine native trees and plants. In her 2 years with 𝐅𝐨𝐻, Ms. Vergara has managed resource generation, communications, and memberships, forging strong partnerships with major brands. She collaborates with private enterprises, public organizations, and individuals to craft joint initiatives that advance both environmental conservation and community development. Her work extends beyond Philippine shores, fostering partnerships with overseas communities in Singapore, Australia, Hong Kong, the United States, United Kingdom, Norway, and other countries, enabling them to support conservation efforts back home. With Ms. Vergara's dedication to sustainability and her skill in building bridges across sectors and borders, she stands as a shining example of the Filipino spirit of excellence, leading with vision, breaking barriers, and inspiring Filipinos across the globe. Ms. Erica Vergara, may I call you Erica?
Of course.
Welcome to the Chairman's Report. I should disclose first thing that, I used to be chairman of 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation. That's how I got to know you. But for those who are not familiar, even though 𝐅𝐨𝐻 has been around for many decades, can you introduce 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation to our viewers?
Certainly. So, 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation is a pioneering environmental conservation organization. So, what does it really mean? So, 𝐅𝐨𝐻 started in the early 70s.
As a bird watching...
under the leadership of a few interested birders who wanted to learn more about the environment, specifically the haring ibon, or the Philippine eagle. And these are individuals, not just Filipinos, but from overseas as well, who are very interested in our birds. And this is how 𝐅𝐨𝐻 started, just a bunch of interested birders. And in that effort to look for the Philippine eagle and protect it, they realized that it wasn't enough to just focus on the Philippine eagle, no? And this is how 𝐅𝐨𝐻 started. So the conservation effort was really to broaden, the protections available to our environment and the rich biodiversity, as they say, of our country. So that's how it started. It was really just a bunch of interested people who wanted to protect the beauty of the Philippines and conserve all of the different living things and wildlife that's found around here. And from there, our conservation effort has then extended to protecting ecosystems, capacitating communities. Of course, a lot of it, we're Filipinos, so conservation is not just about nature, it's about the people in it. It's about the people that help us protect it, the communities that live within. And then, of course, we think about sustainability.
Sure.
We want to see that, yes, although 𝐅𝐨𝐿 leads the conservation effort, we want to be able to see the communities thrive on their own and really, become stronger for everybody.
Right.
So that's what 𝐅𝐨𝐿's about.
What drew me to 𝐅𝐨𝐿, I think like most people, is that, besides the environmental advocacy, that it's really non-political.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do justice really to 𝐅𝐨𝐿 just to say that, because there's so many other aspects, as you just mentioned. And one of the things that surprised me was there's also this work that has to do with research, part of the conservation effort, of course, but maybe you can talk about that, because there's the membership part, the activities for members, and there's also the hardcore, research component that's very, very impactful.
Definitely. So, like I said, we started in the 70s for the Philippine Eagle research and conservation effort. And that's really where we're rooted. We are a science organization. We're accredited under DOST. And we want to learn more, to build on. In the 70s, conservation wasn't really a thing in the Philippines. So it was a lot of learning and knowledge sharing at that time. It was also a lot of training for the individuals involved in conservation. So actually now, if you go to the different areas of the Philippines, so many would say, okay, we've worked with 𝐅𝐨𝐿 before, because that's what it really was about. It was going out into the field and building the knowledge of our environment in the Philippines. And that's still where we're rooted until now. We want to be science-based. We want to be backed in that knowledge. And even our programs are designed really driven by science, because of course, again, we're thinking about sustainability, and the only way to do that is to build on that knowledge and make it scientific, right? So that we know that whatever programs or processes we're building is backed by that. So it is a research institution. We also work a lot with different schools, and we also want to bring that education back. So a lot of our programs, when we're doing our research, we want to bring that back to the younger learners, to public schools.
The next generation of leaders.
Exactly, the next generation of researchers as well, and the people who would be protecting their environment, really. So it kind of is a circle and kind of a cycle of like learning and sharing that knowledge and building that in the community.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, because it's, as you said, it's started with the environment where the 𝐅𝐨𝐿 lives, but there's also some marine research and and other things. But there's also the membership part. Can you talk about this, because it's partly also a membership organization, right? So
yes, it is. So we want to be in 𝐅𝐨𝐿, and our mission is to build biodiversity champions. So because as a small organization, we recognize that we can't do everything, and we want to be able to involve and empower everyone in the effort of conservation, because this, nature involves us and benefits everyone. So we want to be able to cause that movement through empowering our members first, and being able to really share that knowledge with our members. So these are individuals who may not necessarily be technically versed or not really, educated in conservation, but advocates, people who are interested, people who want to pursue or want to learn more. These are, everybody's welcome. And we want to be able to say, okay, we want to share this knowledge with everybody, and our members can then help us also share that knowledge and experience with others. So
can you talk about some of the things that you do? I remember there's some coastal cleanups. There were some activities that I went to. We went bird watching in Tanay, and we were trying to count the migratory birds, which is a new thing for me. But what's been going on lately? What have you guys been organizing for members?
Yeah, so year-round, we want to give people the opportunity to join in any capacity that they're in, or any interest that they're in. So we have a variety of activities that we offer to the public. So it could be coastal cleanup right here in Manila, along Manila Bay, where we're protecting the area where migratory birds come to rest. We also have our tree planting activities every rainy season. So from July to November, we're planting. We have identified 5 key biodiversity sites where we plant our trees for reforestation. We also have, like you said, bird watching. So There are many different areas in Manila alone. There's La Mesa, there's also Ninoy Aquino Parks and Wildlife. So many different areas for that. We also have nursery activities. We have now mangrove tree planting as well. And we have communities where we are trying to empower women leadership through enterprise. So there's also that opportunity to help build or incubate enterprises where women become leaders and become business owners.
And what are these partnerships that I mentioned in the introduction? You reach out to other countries. What is it that that 𝐷𝐻𝐻 is looking for? If somebody else abroad, some organization or enterprise is looking for a Philippine partner, what's a good match for 𝐷𝐻𝐻?
So of course, 𝐷𝐻𝐻 just really looks for support. It could be funding support, let's say in restoring forests. So that could be in helping us in our nursery so that we have enough, we can propagate enough seedlings. It could be activating our tree planting. And it could be also mobilizing our teams in education efforts. We also look for volunteers. So it could be anybody to help us again in our tree planting activities. So when we go plant trees, we normally will plant a hectare at a time. That's 1,250 trees that we need to be planting.
And what's different is, a lot of organizations do tree planting activities, but what really surprised me was that 𝐷𝐻𝐻 has this system that you don't just plant the trees and then leave them be. There's a community that looks after these trees, makes sure that the survival rates are actually high.
Correct. So I think that's one of the things we're most proud of. Our survival rates are in the high 90s. And we maintain and monitor for 3 years. And I said earlier, we work with the community. So this is an important part of our forest restoration effort because we bring that down to the community so that the communities also own.
So it's not just the trees, but there's also a community development component to it, right?
And they have an ownership of the trees that they're planting. They know that to protect it as well. And they know what we're doing in their forests.
But to be honest, this was a bit of frustration for me because when I was with 𝐷𝐻𝐻, we always had to contend with some organization asking us why is the cost of supporting 𝐷𝐻𝐻 tree planting more than it does to support other groups. But it took some time to explain that, well, it's not just putting some seedlings on the ground, but as you said, you have this community component and taking care of the trees that actually has a good turnout in terms of survival rates, right?
And we actually go back before we even start planting, the science comes in. So we do a lot of research. Our site acquisition involves biodiversity assessments for the areas where we're planting, so we know what kinds of trees we need to plant.
And the important thing is, you're right. I mean, people forget that you have to make sure that you don't plant, trees that will be bad for that area. I mean, we're talking about native trees, right? Maybe for those who are not familiar, why does it matter to pick a native tree versus, say a foreign species?
Right. So when we're talking about native and endemic trees, we're talking about the trees that support the local ecosystem. So when we're planting native trees, these are the trees that naturally grow in that area. And so we know that they are resilient in that area when it comes to the weather, but also they are supportive of all the other life that happens in that area.
Again, biodiversity.
Exactly. So our goal is to bring back the forests, and that means to bring back all the other life that comes into that forest. So we want to be able to plant trees that are, say, supportive of the birds, are supportive of other trees, and that complementary ecosystem is what we want to be able to develop. So when you're planting native trees, you're actually bringing back the biodiversity in that area. So you're not just planting trees, but you're making sure that the forest will be healthy. Since we're not going to be there forever to maintain, right? So we're only there for 3 years to ensure that the trees are strong enough, big enough to survive on their own. And then once that is set, nature will take its course.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Very good. Erica, very interesting discussion. I just have to take a quick break. You're watching the Chairman's Report. We'll be right back.
Gisingin na at salubungin ang umagang puno ng kaalamang pangkalusugan. Hindi na kayo mag-worry dahil ang inyong concerns ay sagot na ng ating mga bisitang doktor at espesyalista. Matuto kasama nina Doc Cel Martinez at Jerome Sang sa Doc Luba tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13. Kulang ang araw mo kung wala ang kids na hindi lang cute at charming, kundi super talented din.
It's a time for the people of Iloilo to show their love for their faith and celebrate the rich culture. Young shows the world how rich and diverse Filipino culture is.
Panoorin sila sa Talents Academy every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐬. We're talking to Ms. Erica Vergara of 𝐅𝐨𝐮𝐧𝐝 Foundation. You know, a lot of people have been in the news, been following these issues regarding flood control projects. You know, of course, the focus is on man-made structures to mitigate that problem. But is there anything we can take away from nature or learn from nature in terms of maybe flood control?
Well, definitely the issue of climate change, that's not something new to us.
Sure.
Last year, I saw this meme where it said, mainit kasi walang puno. May baha kasi walang puno. So a lot of these occurrences can be helped by planting more trees. And for us, a good example is that 𝐅𝐨𝐻 has been working in Quezon Province for over 12 years now. And when we came in that area of Real, Infanta, Quezon, it was right after a very big landslide that actually devastated the whole community. And that landslide happened because there weren't enough trees to hold the soil together and to really absorb the rainwater. So there was a big landslide that washed all the way up from the mountain down to the coast. And it was really a matter of there was not enough trees. So in the course of our decade of working there, and with also, of course, the efforts of the local government, that area, that mountainside has now been reforested. And so we see less of these landslides and floodings in that area.
And how long did you say it took this project to have this impact? How long has 𝐅𝐨𝐻 been working on it?
Well, for trees, of course, we have to wait for them to grow.
Sure.
So it's about 10 years to really have a big enough, strong enough tree.
But that's the issue, then. There's really no shortcut around it.
Exactly. There's no shortcut around it. And it's glaring as well for Filipinos, for example, for Filipinos to be sustainable, meaning we get these services of flood mitigation, of storm surge protection, that kind of services. We need 54% forest cover in our forests. Right now we're at 24.
Oh, okay. So we need to double what we have.
Yeah, we need to double. And so then we really also see the effects of, not having enough trees for our protection. And also there's this talk of the Sierra Madre Mountains. I'm sure everybody is familiar. I think around June or July of last year, there were 3 big storms coming into Metro Manila. And everybody was worried about it, really getting prepared. But when the storms hit, it really didn't hit Manila because of the Sierra Madre mountain range. There we had this very strong forest mountain range that protected us. So these are kind of the things.
Which would not have been the same if we had completely
So if
taken out all the trees.
If we didn't have those forests, then that whole large storm system would have hit Manila and caused the flooding and caused all of this. So definitely there are benefits, advantages to having trees, even if, let's say, they're outside of Manila, like Sierra Madre. It spans Laguna to Quezon.
Right.
But we feel it in Metro Manila.
Right.
So
it's interesting. So you don't just look at where the flooding occurs, but also the surrounding areas the upland areas.
Yes,
also,
definitely.
right? Yeah.
Because our waterways are all connected.
That's right.
Right? So even if, let's say, it's flooding, you know, somewhere in Quezon, it's going to still go down the waterways and we're still going to feel it somehow. So
Right. So, plant more trees, or take care of our forest. Is there anything we can do in urban areas? You know, sometimes this has been a debate for urban planners, you know, whether there should be trees in urban centers or not. But what's the current scientific discussions around that in terms of, you know, this whole issue about flood mitigation and stuff?
well, you know, flood mitigation is a complex issue.
There's no silver bullet to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, in urban areas, we still need to think about, let's say in Manila Bay alone, if we had bolstered our mangrove areas along the coast, then the storm surge that we now see that causes, let's say, flooding along Rojas Boulevard, that would have been, you know, that mangrove area would have protected us a little bit from that kind of weather disturbance or the flooding caused by storm surges. So having more trees, and we're not just thinking, you know, trees along the streets, but, you know, like I said, mangrove areas,
Social areas,
you know,
yeah.
because Manila is a largely coastal area still. But then also in the urban areas, if we had trees planted, more trees or more green belts, then we would have, let's say, parks to absorb all of that rainfall, and it wouldn't be, you know, flowing out to our streets. So
No, but when you say that, you know, that everything is connected and that maybe, you know, taking care of the forest also benefits the lowland areas and coastal communities. And you said that there's really no single solution to it. But in terms of impact, I mean, where would you rank what we're talking about? Planting trees, planting mangroves, because there's, as you said, there are many things that need to be done, right? But is it among the priorities, you think, or is it just something nice to have, or what's the discussion there? For
definitely it's a
people who-
priority, no?
Okay.
Because planting trees, and not just planting trees, but protecting our biodiversity
Right.
involves protecting all the things that we, you know, the richness of the Philippines, right? So when you think about the Philippines, you really think of different ecosystems. You might not be, you know, classifying it as an ecosystem. You
Right.
might be thinking, oh, I want to go to the beach.
Right.
I want to go to the lake. I
Right.
want to go, you know, visit the volcano.
Right.
Those are unique experiences that you get to do in the Philippines because our nature is very rich.
Right.
And a large part of that is because our trees are there, right? So for us to be able to sustain that, for us to be able to continue enjoying those resources, we need to be able to really, you know, start protecting and start planting our trees.
I know Haribon works with different government agencies, but I'm just wondering, as we're talking about this, that maybe there should be more discussion between Haribon and you know, Public Works. Because, well, no, seriously, because I've heard some people say that, for instance, you know, building concrete seawalls may not be as effective as planting mangrove forests. One, you know, the mangroves will probably last longer, and as you said, there's many more benefits to doing that than just, you know, spending millions or maybe even billions in concrete structures.
Exactly, because if we're talking about mangroves as an example, no? Yes, mangroves will protect us from the weather and the storm surges, but also it builds an ecosystem within,
Right.
so that in our mangrove areas we can do shrimping, there's fishing that can be done. It helps build the seagrass that then extends to
Right.
the waters, and then it makes our coasts healthier
Right.
and better for the fishermen.
Right.
So if we invest in, you know, reforesting our mangroves, we're actually creating or supporting a larger coastal industry as well, in protecting all the other life that happens in our coasts.
And as you said earlier, that, you know, you were mentioning Sierra Madre, for instance, and we're here in Metro Manila, and I think I remember someone from Maribon telling me a while ago that if we want to look at, you know, flooding, disaster mitigation in the area, that maybe we need to also start looking around the Sierra Madre, the mountains around Metro Manila. Does that theory still hold today? I mean,
Yes, definitely. Especially if we're thinking about the cities very close to those areas. So if we're thinking about 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐻,
Yes.
thinking about Antipolo,
Right.
those are right at the, it's a kind of like a water catchways, right? And that's where we see a lot of our population moving into. There's a lot of development into those areas. Tanay.
Yeah.
When we don't have enough trees to absorb the water, or it's not just, when you think about trees, it's not that they drink the water and use them up.
Right.
You know, it's really that they absorb the water and bring them down into our
Aquifers. And,
yes, our aquifers. So that helps not just prevent flooding, but also talks about our water supply. Right. So that's where we tap into, our household water. So definitely, even if you're thinking, oh, the forests are so far away from our city, but it really does influence or affect, the quality of life that we have in our city.
So you agree with me when, people, especially those in Congress, start investigating all these flood control projects, that there should be a serious discussion also on restoring forests, restoring mangrove forests as well for the coastal areas. Is that's a valid argument?
Yes, that's very valid. I think we really need to think about nature in what we do, no? Especially in the Philippines, because our land areas are so small, right? So we inevitably will have an interaction with mountains, forests, or the coast, wherever we are.
Oh, what do you think about this? This issue about quarrying and mining, and that's also. They say there's a lot of wealth to be dug up just underneath our feet, but people don't seem to value the things above ground, right? The things that we're talking about that can have these many benefits, not the least of which is also flood control. Yeah.
Right. So mining, it can be very extractive. And although I know mining companies have an effort to return the forest, like in our experience in Quezon, it will take years before we can rehabilitate and bring back. If ever, I'm not even sure if we can actually bring everything back to its natural state. So for me, the benefits of that and the advantages might not be too attractive when we think about the long-term effects also of how it really kind of shapes the landscape and also affects the communities around those.
Yeah, it could even be a false argument, and for some people. Anyway, we'll have to take a quick break, Erica. You're watching the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐷𝐞𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐻. We'll be right back.
Gusto nyo ba ng mas exciting na content? It's time to manually scan your Digibox or Smart TV. Tune in sa aming dynamic trio lineup, all in one channel band. Stay tuned to Congress TV at channel 13.2 for the latest updates and happenings straight from the legislative halls. Enjoy your favorite shows na hindi lang siksik sa information, kundi punong-puno rin sa entertainment sa IBC 13 at channel 13.1. At para sa pinakabagong balita, talk shows at music, stay tuned to the 12:06 a.m. sa channel 13.3, broadcasting your favorite radio shows on your TV. All this and more in just one channel band. Don't miss out. Manually scan your Digibox or Smart TV now to enjoy Congress TV at 13.2, IBC 13 at 13.1, at the 12:06 a.m. at 13.3. Experience more. Enjoy more. Only on your TV.
Travel goals? Hindi papahuli dyan si Diego.
Look at that. We're gonna be hanging loose. Kaya swak ito para sa quick nature trip.
Samahan siya sa kanyang adventurous trip habang tinutuklas ang bawat sulok ng Pilipinas at ang natatanging culture, cuisine, and everything in between. Sa Kultura, tuwing Sabado alas 11 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐸𝐴𝐚. We're talking to Erica Vergara of 𝐼𝐸 Foundation. You're talking about all of these things that we should be appreciating more than we actually do. Can you talk about, how wealthy the Philippines is actually in terms of its natural wealth, its biodiversity? What are some of the things that, most people don't know, don't realize about this lovely country of ours?
Yeah, so the Philippines, we're such a small country, but we've garnered so much interest from all these different international organizations. And really it's because the Philippines is one of the 17 mega diverse countries in the world.
17, wow.
Yeah, so one of 17. So imagine out of all the many different countries in the world, we're one of that. And what does that really mean? That means that in our lands and waters, there's so much different kinds of wildlife and so much different kinds of species, different kinds of trees, different kinds of coral, and the diversity of this is only seen where we are. And also because of the way our landscape is, a lot of these different species can only be found in the Philippines. So they only naturally live and survive in the Philippines. So when they are lost to us here in the Philippines, that's a global loss.
It's lost to the world.
Yeah, lost to the world. So that's how important our biodiversity is. And that was a unique fact that I found out only when I started working in 𝐼𝐸, right? That, for us Filipinos, we're so used to enjoying all the beauty that we don't realize that this experience is only unique to the Philippines. And this is also why we have so many foreigners come in and, really saying that it's different in the Philippines, because it really is different in the Philippines. There's not this kind of beauty and this kind of diversity in nature can only be found where we are. So that for me, for many Filipinos, that's not something we realize. And also just the different kinds, like for example, if you think about the banana, right? In Western countries, they have one kind of banana, two kinds of bananas. In the Philippines, I think we have 18 different bananas. We have the most number of frogs found in the world. So, and this is, across all the different life in the Philippines, this is kind of the experience. So, I think that's something that most Filipinos don't know about and should know about.
Yeah, I know. I'm ashamed to say that I'm in the same boat, and I don't know as much, I think, as I should know. But where do you think we went wrong? And maybe more importantly, looking forward, has there been any initiative maybe to talk to the Department of Education, or maybe, 𝐼𝐸 has an education campaign also, public awareness, especially for children. I don't know if you have it back, but we used to have a roving library. I think your chairman Mayan was working to restore that vehicle.
Yes.
But talk about that. Maybe the public awareness campaign, and then maybe is there an initiative to have something more formal? Maybe introduce something in the educational curriculum about.
Yeah. So 𝐼𝐸 has many different projects, and we're trying to be multi-sectoral in our approach.
Right.
So we do have a few programs like the Biodiversity on Wheels, which you were speaking of.
Yes.
These are learning trucks that will travel to different public schools or even private schools. And in these trucks, these are kind of like libraries where it's chock full of biodiversity concepts, and videos, and just things that children can interact with, because I think it starts with the learning tools as well with our students, because a lot of the books that we get are from foreign publications, and so when they experience this in their learning materials, they think of Western plants and animals as well, diba? So for example, if I say, okay, what fruit can you think of when I say letter A? Apple.
Yeah, right.
But we don't have apple in the Philippines. That doesn't naturally grow here. But we have atis, right? But that's not something, although atis is not endemic as well. But these are local fruits, right? So these are things that we hope to bring back, and so that when the students, they can align that with their local experience, diba? Now, parang if they're in the provinces and these are the trees, the kind of fish that they see, they don't see whales or sharks, but there's the butanding, there's, and those are the kinds of things we want to bring back through our biodiversity learning. So this is what the Biodiversity on Wheels learning van does. It really talks about the different local trees and animals, so that the children will know na, okay, this tree pala is this kind of tree, right? And even now it's funny, a few months back, I was speaking at this college and I said, okay, who can identify native Philippine trees? And, people only knew the Nara kasi that's our, that's our national tree, but everything else.
Well, at least they said something, mentioned something endemic, right?
Yeah.
But, some people would probably say something foreign.
Exactly.
Because that's what they see.
Because that's what you know. Diba? And for us, it's like, okay, we need to kind of step back and, see how we're educating our children, because they should know. They should know what trees are found locally. But then we also are working kind of on a local government level to help our lawmakers or those who create these programs to better design programs and incorporate
capacity building as well.
Yes, to incorporate biodiversity learning or at least sensitivity into the things that they do on a local level.
Yeah, because they're probably sitting on wealth, right? That they don't know about it, and so they don't get to maybe harness it, much less appreciate it.
Exactly. So an experience in our Women Go program. So our Women Go program was developed to help empower women in forest-dependent communities. Because when we started our forest restoration, we realized we were working a lot with the men in leadership roles. But the women who were supportive were very rarely in leadership roles. And then when we started working with them, we uncovered also that there's a lot of funding devoted for women empowerment, women capacity building, that the women could now tap and unlock towards biodiversity, championing all these biodiversity projects. And this was only available to them when they realized na, okay, we can work with the local government for this. But like you said, there's so much resources available, and it's just a matter of figuring out, what we can tap for.
Yeah, thinking about trees, people mentioned the ironwood. I didn't realize there was such thing as an ironwood that's endemic in the Philippines. But just beyond women, we were talking earlier before we started taping, even Filipinos who grew up abroad. You were mentioning this student from New Jersey or New York, or can you talk about that? Because I had to bring in a CFO angle to this discussion. So they reached out to these group of students. Is it Filipino students or foreigners? Or can you talk about that and what did they do with Taiwan?
Yeah. So last year we had this wonderful opportunity to work with Filipino students based in New Jersey.
Great.
So these are second generation Filipinos already. So they grew up in the United States. Few of them have been able to visit. Many of them have not. But they wanted to honor the legacy of the Philippines that their parents spoke of, right? So they're part of this association in their school. I believe it's Rutgers. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right.
Rutgers,
Yeah. But they're part of an association in that school, which is really a Filipino association. And they said, we want to be able to build on the Filipino legacy of our parents and contribute to our forests. So they had a fundraising activity. And from that, we were able to generate donations for tree planting.
I see.
So and this is a wonderful way for them to kind of honor that experience. No? A lot of them said na they would hear the experiences of their parents who had lived in the provinces, who were really outdoors, who were, had experiences with nature, and that's kind of what they wanted to protect through that.
So along the way, did they stumble on some of these richness of the Philippines? I mean, what were some of the things that stood out to them that you can remember now?
Definitely. I think it was really more of a discussion too on like, what does it really mean? You know, to them, the concept is we're going to plant trees in the Philippines.
Right.
But what does it really mean when you're planting trees in the Philippines, right? So the trees that we were planting, we were going to plant them in Quezon. And there, when we're planting, we're also supporting the northern rufous hornbill, which is the 𝐂𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐦𝐚.
And that's only found in the Philippines or endemic in the region?
Yes, endemic to the region.
Okay.
So you're planting trees, but you're also supporting all these beautiful different species, right? So I think for them, that was kind of the eye-opener there. That, and of, like, you know, we mentioned earlier, you're also empowering the community in that area. So in many of the areas where we're planting, the experience is that the local community used to be a community of loggers. And now, because we brought this opportunity for forest restoration, this project to them, they're now forest defenders because they own these trees. You know, they had started in their backyard nurseries all the way to when they planted it, and then they monitored and maintained them in the forest. So there's a lot of ownership there where, you know, people, our communities themselves will say, don't touch the trees because, you know, we put a lot of effort in.
Right. I have to take a break, Erica, but, you know, is there a resource where people can discover these unique things of the Philippines? Is it on 𝐅𝐨𝐿 website? Is it on your mobile library? Or where can they go to discover these things?
Yes, please visit our website at ⅅ𝐷𝐿.org.ph to learn more about our projects. And also, if you're interested to become a ⅅ𝐷 member, we have a page there as well. And if you want to see updates or just see kind of our work on the ground and the day-to-day, follow our socials at @ⅅ𝐷 on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with Erica Vergara.
Kasama si Greg Gregorio. Sama-sama nating alamin at tuklasin ang mga tungkuling ginagampanan ng bawat miyembro ng gabinete at ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. para sa pagbabago at kaunlaran ng ating bansa. Sa Cabinet at Work, tuwing Lunes, 1:30 ng hapon, dito sa IBC 13.
Kumusta mga sayanista? Let's go, mga sayanista! Halina't sumama kina Kuya Ro at Agham sa kanilang nakaka-excite na adventures habang natututo ng kamangha-manghang lessons about science and technology.
Oh, mga sayanista, makinig na mabuti.
Sabay-sabay tayong mag-explore, mag-eksperimento at mag-enjoy sa Sayanista tuwing Linggo, 4:00 ng hapon.
Don't be late ha! Dito lang sa IBC 13!
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐷𝐞𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐬 talking to Erica Vergara of ⅅ𝐷. So you were mentioning about membership. So what's the cost of membership? What's do they fill up a form online? And is it expensive to be a member, or what does it take?
So membership is 900 pesos annually.
Oh, it's virtually nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Really affordable. You can apply online. So go on our website, ⅅ𝐷.org.ph. There's a form there to fill in, and you can also pay online.
Okay.
So we accept bank payment, credit card payment, PayPal.
And then what do they get as a member?
Right. As a ⅅ𝐷 member, you can take part in our local activities. If you are here in the Philippines, we have tree planting, we have bird watching, we have art workshops, native tree walks as well. So there are many activities that happen across the year. We also conduct online learning sessions where we talk to experts, learn about the Philippines, and also discuss current issues. So this is a very good way for those who want to advocate for nature to be empowered and to really be more aware of what we have here in the Philippines.
And I think I should mention that, like for me, you can sign up your whole family as members in 𝐂𝐤𝐿.
Yes.
I thought that was quite nice. You can have this could be your family thing,
Right.
And then it can also be meaningful.
Right. So many of our activities are very child friendly. We actually have tree planting. Our youngest participant was 6 years old.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
yes, definitely can be a family activity.
So for those looking to get involved and join 𝐂𝐤𝐿, what do they have to look forward to for the rest of 2025, and what's on your plate for 2026?
Right. So 𝐂𝐤𝐿, our mission is to build biodiversity champions, and really what we want to do is expand.
Okay.
Right now, our focus is in the area of Luzon. Many of our projects are at the Luzon Island, but we want to, kind of build out. This year, we launched a project in Aklan.
Okay.
And that's kind of the trend, that we really want to be in the different areas of the Philippines and talk about conservation and empower the local communities there. So we've seen a lot of success in our forest restoration projects and in our women empowerment projects, and we want to bring that success to other areas as well. Many different communities in the Philippines, even our educational program. So this year we have a program called Sea Guardians, which is to teach young learners about the importance of the sea and how it protects us and how it nourishes us as well. And the Philippines is largely coastal, right? So many communities.
And then 𝐂𝐤𝐿 has also projects underwater, yes, and then that's also part of the biodiversity effort, right?
Exactly. So we really want to expand in our projects, and we want to expand in our members, right?
Yeah.
Because being a 𝐂𝐤𝐿 member is not just about learning, but it's also advocating. So
Right.
we want our members to be able to speak and to be able to teach and to be
Right.
able to help others also become biodiversity champions. And by increasing that, not just in the Philippines, but outside of the Philippines as well,
Yeah.
championing kind of,
Yeah.
the richness of the Philippines and like how special we are.
Right. And outside the Philippines, it's quite interesting, of course, for CFO. That group of students from Rutgers. I have newfound, appreciation from Rutgers. I only know it for basketball and a not so good football team. But seriously, can other student groups go to 𝐂𝐤𝐿 and say, maybe I want to do something, say in a coastal area? Is that something that the 𝐂𝐤𝐿 can accommodate? If a group says, they want to do something, and say in a particular region in the Philippines, are you open to that, or do you limit it to just where you actually have, ongoing projects? But for young people abroad, and I think they're going to be the one who's most excited, especially with all this talk about climate change and all of these things related to it. What's possible and what's not?
Yeah, so there's a program in 𝐂𝐤𝐿. For 𝐂𝐤𝐿 members, we call this is our tourism program. So it's called 𝐂𝐤𝐿 Travels,
Nice.
and it's where members can join the 𝐂𝐤𝐿 team, and we bring you out to the communities where we work, and you get to meet the local communities. We have programs that help enterprises, small backyard enterprises develop, and then you can also do mangrove planting or tree planting during those activities. And then, of course, if you support, let's say, biodiversity wheels or the Sea Guardians project, we can activate that anywhere in the Philippines.
Okay.
Although 𝐂𝐤𝐿 does work with priority sites. So these are sites, 9 sites where we've identified that these are key biodiversity areas.
That are
So,
critical, yeah.
yes, critical, lots of threatened endangered species in those areas, very important to protect. So those are our priority areas. So as much as possible, those are the areas where we'd like to work.
And are these areas nationwide, or?
Yes, this is across the
Okay.
Philippines.
All right.
And then the criteria there is really, what is a hotspot, right?
Okay.
Which area has many endangered, threatened species or richness in biodiversity, and that's where we want to work because we want to start our protections there. But of course, we're open to work anywhere.
Okay.
as well. So many of the programs for tree planting, we do have certain areas. So 5 adopted
Right.
sites.
As you said, you do a lot of preparatory work.
Yes,
You
a
just
lot.
don't show up and start, putting
Yes,
seedlings.
and we want to
Yeah.
hit kind of like larger tracts of
Right,
forest.
right.
So, but definitely for educational purposes,
Yeah.
for activating the biodiversity in wheels, or for species research, we can go anywhere in the Philippines.
I see. So will there be a repeat or part 2 of the Rutgers campaign? Is that something that that was the first one, right? For Haribon, is that something that went well enough to maybe merit some discussion? Hey, maybe we can.
Yeah, that was a really wonderful experience for us, and we want to recreate
Maybe that's something we can work together on.
Yeah, definitely. And on Haribon's end, you also said to these students, when you are in the Philippines, when you come, please touch base with us, because we want to bring you there, right?
Right.
We want you to be able to see the contribution you've made to tree planting, community capacity building, and to really kind of have that experience of, what did they build, right, in their efforts to restore forests.
And then, does it require a minimum number of people to start, or can it be just an individual? Say they're coming home to visit their relatives. Is there something open for that, or is it only are you only open for groups?
Well, our Haribon Travels group is usually small. It's
Okay.
between 15 to 20 people. Our tree planting activities are larger. That's
Okay.
about 50 people, but we do have what we call open tree planting. So these are many different people coming together, and we'll do the tree planting in one go. So
Can they do bird watching while they're here? We started talking about the Philippine eagle.
right.
Is there an opportunity? I know they're very elusive and they're very rare, but is there an opportunity to go, I don't know, bird watching for something like that?
Well, maybe not the larger birds, but there are
There's so many others.
yeah, many different birds. Even here in Metro Manila, we can activate a bird watching activity in the group size of about 10.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And now we're going to the bear months, and am I right? This is started the migratory
Yes.
season, and then maybe for those who are not familiar with that, why is that significant for those who are nature lovers and bird watchers?
Okay, so the Philippines is part of the East Asian Australasian Flyway.
Okay.
So essentially that means we're a pit stop for migratory birds. So these are the birds coming from the northern hemisphere, flying out.
Escaping the colder weather,
Yes.
going south.
Right, and the Philippines is an important pit stop, and even just here in Metro Manila along Manila Bay, they stop and rest here. So during the Burr months, so from September all the way till February, we see all of these different migratory birds coming to the Philippines to visit, and we get to appreciate them. So many of the areas where Manila is one of the stops. There's also in Pampanga. So this then becomes a kind of hub for all these different kinds of birds.
And it's interesting when I was participating in one. There's also a conservation component to it, because people were saying that you have to watch out for certain species because they may be endangered, say in China or elsewhere, right? And then there's just a lookout for a certain species of bird or some animal to see if they are part of that migratory phenomenon that happens every year.
Right. So, yeah, there are rare birds that come and visit. But also, I guess, earlier we were talking about why is it important to have trees in urban areas. This is another reason.
Yeah.
Because,
The habitat, yeah.
yeah, the birds need somewhere to perch.
Yeah.
And when they come visit. So, a while back, I was hearing in the area of, I think, Muntinlupa, it was in Makati, they would see large birds sitting at the buildings. They could see it from their office windows. And this is because they didn't have trees to stop at. So, so this is an interesting season, this bird season for us, and definitely an interesting time for birders.
Well, Erica, it's been, I can talk about this for, much longer, but, that's the time that we have for it. Thank you very much for making time for the Chairman's Report. Before you go, maybe some final thoughts for our audience?
Right. So what we really want to do in 𝐅𝐨𝐻, we started as a group of individuals interested in protecting nature, and that's still really what we are until today. And 𝐅𝐨𝐻 is really about building a legacy, not just for us, but for the children that will follow, and protecting the richness of the Philippines. Many of us will remember, having that experience of nature, having somewhere to enjoy nature, and that's kind of what we want to protect for the children in our future. So conservation is it's not just about tree planting, but it's ensuring that the system that works even to serve us people, is there and is strengthened, and that we are protecting not just for people, but all the other life forms that we find in our nature.
Erica, thank you once again, and thank you, of course, to 𝐅𝐨𝐻 Foundation for making time, and of course, thank you to our viewers who have been loyally following our episodes every week in the Chairman's Report. This is the final episode for this season. Next week, we'll be showing replays as we prepare for the next season of the Chairman's Report. So wait until then. We may be shooting in new locations, and I'll see you then. Thank you very much.